The safety of the drivers is always a huge concern in the dangerous world of F1.
You do not ever want to see accidents like that.
Yeah, I think George was pulling to the left into the AlphaTauri. That's tripped the Alfa Romeo.
But here's the thing. Sometimes this can come at the cost of the car's looks and aesthetics. Well, in the case of the Halo, even though it helps to improve safety, some people feel it completely destroys the visual appeal of the sport. Since its introduction, it's been a rather controversial addition and still continues to be a massive talking point today. Here's everything you need to know about the introduction of the Halo device in F1. So why was the Halo device added in F1? The FIA unveiled the concept of a Halo cockpit protection concept back in 2017, and by 2018, all F1 cars had to have the system in place. But here's the thing, this push towards greater cockpit safety isn't a new thing in the dangerous world of F1. In fact, even going as far back as 2009, you'll find tons of people who wanted things to change. A lot of this was because of Henry Surtees, the son of a former world champion who tragically lost his life in a Formula 2 race due to a loose wheel.
Across the nose of Henry Surtees' car. And that's a very nasty looking accident, and worry immediately.
Just when you thought that was bad enough, shortly after this, Felipe Massa sustained severe injuries when a loose spring struck his head during a practice session for the Hungarian Grand Prix.
Path of the errant spring and into the tyre wall. Medics were on the scene quickly and Felipe was extracted from his car and taken to the medical centre.
It was obvious to everyone, head protection in the F1 world has been ignored for too long. But even with people asking for change, sadly it couldn't come fast enough. Because in 2014, Jules Bianchi suffered a fatal accident with a recovery vehicle at the 2014 Japanese Grand Prix. This was when the FIA decided to put its foot down and really began researching better head protection. It would have been great if it didn't take multiple actions before the FIA took action. But hey, at least they could prevent more tragedies like this from happening. After trying out some other designs for better cockpit safety, the Halo was finalized, since it was really the only viable choice available. But you might be wondering, just how did the FIA arrive at the Halo design? Well, the first prototype of the Halo, made of steel, was put to the test at RAF Bentwaters in 2015. It held up well against a 20 kg fire propelled at speeds of 225 km per hour using a cannon powered by compressed nitrogen. That's an insane feat. But wait, because it gets even better. Later, the FIA made a steel prototype covered in carbon fiber, which was then put to the test on the track by Ferrari during winter testing in February 2016. Now, there were some vertical pylons and protective sections directly in front and above the cockpit, but drivers said that it didn't impact their visibility too much. The FIA continued to experiment, and during the 2016 Austrian Grand Prix, a lighter, stronger prototype made of titanium, known as Halo 2, was unveiled. So what was different about this cool new Halo 2? For one, a huge change was made to it by widening its arc. This way, drivers got even better visibility, and there were no risk of a driver hitting his head on the device itself during collision. Can you imagine getting injured because you got an injury from a device that's supposed to prevent injuries? Yeah, safe to say this was a totally necessary change. The device is more secure as a result of it, and well, it does its main job a lot better. From the looks of it, the Halo device is going to be a mainstay in F1 for the foreseeable future, but it wasn't exactly well received when it was first revealed. The thing is, despite how interesting the concept is, there were some major concerns people had about the design. Sure, it was a lot safer, but people weren't fans of the overall aesthetics, feeling like the FIA was sacrificing that aspect way too much. It didn't help that you had legends like Lewis Hamilton who made comments at the time saying it was the worst looking mod in Formula 1 history. Lewis did eventually come around, especially after seeing the research the FIA presented to the drivers, proving just how safe this device would make things for them. But the damage was done. Fans felt like too much of the cool factor was being removed. But hey, these races wouldn't even exist if not for the drivers who risked their lives. It makes sense why they'd want to do whatever they can to try and keep things as secure for these guys as possible. Hamilton later added that he took safety very, very seriously. And while he feels that the Halo system doesn't look great, and neither is it in the racing spirit, the fact that it can save people's lives is reason enough to keep it. And that seems to be the stance among a lot of the other fans of F1 too. It's a bit of a compromise in terms of aesthetics, but the benefits to safety definitely make the Halo a worthwhile addition. But there were some other concerns, besides just the aesthetics too. Some drivers were worried that the introduction of the halo could limit visibility. After all, the halo looks massive in size, but during the testing phase, only a couple of drivers talked about visibility being a problem for them. There were also concerns that circuits with significant elevation changes, like Spa-Francorchamps, might create a blind spot for drivers as they approach a hill. Honestly, that sounds like a pretty legitimate concern. Thankfully, it was dealt with too, because the Halo 2 prototype was tested during the practice for the Belgian Grand Prix around that time, and Mercedes driver Nico Rosberg reported it didn't make a difference. Rosberg mentioned that it wasn't a problem at all, and he didn't even notice the top bar of the Halo. Some other drivers like Nico Hülkenberg, who was totally against the Halo at first, also started to come around. Initially, he was all like how it's a strange feeling to have something like this limit your forward view, but the visibility wasn't too bad according to him. And while it's different from what he's used to, he mentioned that he could see himself getting used to it. That said, some people like Romain Grosjean completely hated it though, saying that the Halo device made him feel sick. And there was another person who thought it was against the spirit of F1.
I have the track record here. I'm the only person in history to do the ring in under 7 minutes. So actually, it's to my advantage to race it today. Because I'm quicker than all of you.
This was Niki Lauda. Lauda was in the crowd of people who felt the Halo, while safe, totally ruined the aesthetics of F1. Niki said that introducing the Halo could risk altering the core identity of Formula 1, which was all about showcasing open cockpits. That's how things have been ever since the first World Championship event back in 1950. Yep, for literal decades, you had one specific thing about these cars that was left unchanged, even while just about everything else got some form of alteration. It makes sense why longtime drivers like Lauda were so hesitant to the idea of the Halo because of this, especially when you consider more and more F1 has been introducing visual mods that prioritize safety over looks. Nowadays, it doesn't even seem like it's a discussion, because safety always wins out in the end. But clearly, you've got folks like Niki wondering if things are ever getting too safe. There is some element of danger and risk always involved in sports like this. And no matter how safe you think you can make these cars, that element isn't going to go anywhere, right? Well, that seems to be what Niki thinks, at least. But here's the thing, are there better alternatives to the Halo? Not really. Sure, even after the Halo came out, the FIA has been open to other ideas, but they need to be backed by research. Red Bull proposed their own concept in early 2016, known as the Aeroscreen, which made its debut at the Russian Grand Prix and featured a protective windscreen in front of the cockpit. But when the FIA decided in May 2016 to focus their resources on one concept, the development of the Aeroscreen was halted as the Halo was closer to being realized. Later, another solution known as the Shield got a lot of attention. This thing was closer to the Aeroscreen than the Halo, and even had quite a bit of backing. The strategy group agreed to fully support the Shield, considering it to be a more visually appealing concept. But again, issues with dizziness kept this from really taking off. In the end, the Halo really looks like it's here to stay. While it might ruin the aesthetics for some, the safety benefits it provides more than make up for it. Anyway, if you want to check out some more content on F1 racing and its history, make sure to click on the next video.